first for breaking news and the best live sport.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Good morning. It's Monday morning's Your Call. It's 9 o'clock. I'm Nicky Campbell. Right, is making fun of religion a basic right of free speech? Whatever your faith, let's hear from you. How offended are you when you hear this happening over the years? The kind of lampooning that goes on. This is because Nick Clegg says that death threats made against a prospective Liberal Democrat candidate who tweeted a cartoon showing Jesus and Mohammed greeting each other are unacceptable. Maajid Nawaz is founder of the anti-extremist think tank the Quilliam Foundation, tweeted a picture after he appeared on BBC One's The Big Question, where he was, I know that programme, where he was debating people's right to wear T-shirts featuring the Jesus and Mo cartoon.
I'm a Muslim. That T-shirt doesn't threaten me whatsoever. It doesn't threaten my God. It doesn't threaten my faith. It doesn't threaten the Quran. It doesn't threaten any aspect of my religion. I do not feel threatened by these gentlemen wearing that T-shirt.
Well, more than 20,000 people have now signed a petition to have Maajid Nawaz deselected. Why has he insulted so many people? What is so insulting about it for people of that particular faith? Now, is it more important to protect free speech or to protect religions from offence? Where do we draw the line? Is making fun of religion a basic right of free speech? 0500 909 693. That's my number. And you can get to us on social media as well, at BBC 5 Live. Good morning. You're with 5 Live from the BBC.
5 Live.
It's another big round for the Lib Dems at the moment. It's a matter of free speech or religious rights and the right to lampoon or the right not to have your religion made a fun of. This is because prospective Lib Dem candidate Maajid Nawaz, Hampstead and Highgate, it's a three-way marginal. Well, he tweeted a cartoon showing Jesus and Mohammed from the Jesus and Mo sort of cartoon, greeting each other after he was on The Big Questions, discussing that issue amongst others in this general debate, and he's received death threats, coming under pressure not to run. This in the party of, many would argue, free speech, the Liberal Democrats. He's also founder of the anti-extremist think tank the Quilliam Foundation, which raises passions on both sides of the argument, of many arguments itself. Let's speak to Adam in Blackburn, who joins us. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Nicky.
And Steve in Atherstone. Hello, Steve.
Good morning, Nicky.
Good morning. Very well. And Mitch Benn, comedian and atheist. Good morning, Mitch.
Morning, Nick. Long time no see.
Yes, nice to have you on. So, Adam, what is your problem with this picture, for example, of Mohammed?
It's not the picture itself. In the name of the freedom of speech, there's too many abuses going on. Claim to be the freedom of speech. If the person who...
That's what freedom of speech is all about.
Let's hear Adam out.
Would that person be... If somebody insults a religion, but would that person be allowed to question his father's ability? How can you defend yourself? Why is the religion made fun of? If religious does not force anybody to practice any particular religion, similarly, Anelka is being just made a scapegoat for, I'm not condemning him, obviously I'm condemning him for making it, if it's a Jewish insult, then it should be done.
That's racist. This is about a belief. Wait a minute. Religion. The argument is, Adam, the argument this is about a belief system. So if you say, Scientology is, for example, quotation marks, to a Scientologist, your religion is a scam, that's not an insult against all Californians. Or if you say, Father Ted is not an insult to all Irish people. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is not about race, it's about belief system.
I fully understand, Nicky, and obviously I have lived in this country for 45 years. I respect all religion, doesn't matter whatever, and we come from India where all religions are greatly respected. You will always get few minorities in the name of religion, doing things which they're not supposed to. You will always get a minority. But the good thing, which I always say to community, is wherever you go in the world, 90% of the people are very good people. Otherwise, it'll be intolerant to live with each other with different views.
Mm-hmm. Steve, you came in earlier on. I give you the right for an intervention now.
Alone.
Yeah. Go on, Steve.
Hello, can I speak now?
You can speak now.
Yes, I mean, what you have to say is, what is more inoffensive than a cartoon? Is Mr. Nawaz just another person who is end up going to be silenced because of this, because we have laws in our country, and we do have freedom of speech. We don't have Islamic law in this country. We have the law of our land, and when your feelings can be hurt upon, that's what freedom of speech is all about.
Mitch Benn.
Hello.
Hello. I know you feel strongly about these issues and about free speech.
Yeah.
But listen, for Islam, people who are Muslims, many people who are Muslims, feel that they have a personal relationship with Muhammad and feel that any insult against him is tantamount to insulting their family, if not worse. Do you understand that?
I understand. Yeah, I understand. Doesn't make any difference. I understand that. I mean, fine, okay. Well, they can complain. They can complain. They can make their point. They can present an argument. They're not going to ban people.
The problem is, though, that's not how it ends. There's always some kind of veiled threat, a death threat or a character assassination, or just like Mr. Nawaz, where they try and hound him out of a position which is he applying for. There's always a sort of a veiled threat in the background. That is the difference.
Well, I don't think there's anything doctrinally nastier about Islam than there is about Christianity or any other major faith. Christians throughout history have wanted to do horrible things to other people, have never had any trouble finding justification in the Bible for doing it. If there's anything doctrinally nastier about Islam, I think the difference between, on a kind of a geopolitical scale, military Islam is a bigger threat right now, if only because it's about the level of influence which the faith has.
Let's get back to cartoons.
Which it holds sway.
Let's get back to cartoons.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
The right to lampoon. Why do you think that is so important?
It's an absolute right. It's an absolute right. The right to make fun of stuff is an absolute right. It's an absolute right in a civilized society. What is your job as a satirist? What is your job as a satirist? What is your job as a satirist? Your job as a satirist is to poke fun at power and privilege and point out the ridiculous. That describes religion in 3 words: power, privilege, ridiculousness. You are being remiss. If you think religion is off limits, then just don't have satire. Don't have comedy. If religion is off limits, then fine. There is no comedy. There's no satire. That's the kind of civilization you want to grow up in? Fine. They exist.
No.
Adam, come back.
Yeah, it should be, as a human right, everybody should be respected.
Why? Everybody. I do respect people. I don't respect beliefs. I do respect people. I respect you. But I don't respect your beliefs.
Would you allow somebody to question your father?
Yeah?
Oh. What are you talking about? You're talking nonsense. We're talking about the ideology here. Right. You're not talking about...
All right, now let me get to this. Wait, hang on, everybody. Hang on, everybody. We're taking freedom of speech too far here. Adam, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah?
All right, okay. Now listen to the question first, if you would. I'd be very, very grateful. You said it's like insulting one's father, insulting I presume, are you Muslim?
Yes, I am.
Right. Describe to me the offence you feel when you see a cartoon or you hear about a cartoon of Muhammad. Describe how that makes you feel.
Yeah. It makes every average Muslim angry, really, because, first of all, Nicky, you go around the world, we're not even allowed to keep a picture of Muhammad. Nobody knows what Muhammad's. So it's an insulting thing, degrading thing, to just make a cartoon of anything, especially in the modern way the technology is working at the moment. It goes around the world and it's derogatory.
All right, let me ask you another question. Wait, please. Let me ask you another question. Sorry to be headmasterly about this, but I want to just establish a few things. And Jesus, being another prophet of Islam, was the film, for example, there are depictions of Jesus everywhere, example, but was the film The Life of Brian, which was about Brian, not Jesus, but some Christians were offended by it. Would that be a film that you would be uncomfortable with, Adam, given that Jesus is a prophet of Islam?
Absolutely, Nicky. The Muslim faith, my faith is not complete unless I respect Moses or Jesus or the named prophets, whoever it is. But Jesus has been given a superstar status in Quran, which is unfortunately not advertising.
Well, we'll get onto Andrew Lloyd Webber before 10 o'clock, hopefully. but one more for you, Adam. if I may. This is. So, if there is to be a cartoon of Muhammad, is God offended?
Well, obviously, it's not. We don't know what God thinks.
Do you think God might be offended? Is that what it's about?
No, it's the human beings.
The human beings. Got you.
We have our feelings.
Right, I
We have
understand.
our feelings. We don't go around insulting, the Muslim will not go around insulting Jesus or, for that matter, Moses. We don't insult.
Okay, I understand. Right, now, Stephen Atherstone, I grant you freedom of speech. Go on, Steve.
Right, yeah. Well, we have cartoons. We have a teddy bear called Muhammad. Someone lost their job over that. I mean, these things are ridiculous. If you have freedom of speech, the freedom to offend is a bulwark part of that.
Okay.
And that's the way that it should be.
Okay, we've heard that. Adil Akhtar joins us from Four Lions, from the really funny film Four Lions. Adil, good morning.
Morning.
I know you have to dash off. How important is the right to lampoon religion, do you feel?
It's a tricky one because I feel like if you, whatever side of the line you fall on, you can have quite extreme views. I mean, even the right to lampoon can be quite extreme in some senses, can't it? When you target a certain group of people or a certain minority, and that can be equally as harsh as, the outrage that we've had at the moment about giving somebody a death threat. So I think, for me personally, my personal sort of take on it is how good the joke is, and you can get away with a lot. You can get away with a lot if you're sensitive to the audience and understand what the joke is that you're making and taking the crowd. It's like any stand-up, isn't it?
Is it funny to see a cartoon of Jesus and Mo discussing a religion with each other?
I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just talking about the topic in general. What I'm saying.
Why aren't you talking about that? Why do you want to talk about that?
Because, to be honest with you, and I'll be totally honest with you, I've been busy filming and I don't know enough about the issue to talk about it properly.
All right.
And I've just been phoned up by a fella this morning, and I only knew about it like a couple of minutes.
I'm delighted that you're on. It's brilliant that you're on. I love that film. It's a great, and your performance in it is fantastic. But the whole issue of it, it's got to be funny.
Talk about in general.
All right, it's got to be funny.
If you look at cultures, and I mean, comedy is a very important aspect of most cultures. Like if you look at, the Jews leaving Poland and stuff like that, musicals, all sorts of, everybody has to laugh and has to have the ability to laugh at themselves. But at the same time, you've got to make sure that the joke that you're telling is funny enough for people to laugh. And that is on the person telling the joke. If you don't think it's funny, or if you're even questioning it a little bit, go back to the drawing board and try and make it funnier.
That's a kind of subjective thing, though, isn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, you can think it's really funny, and maybe some other people will agree with you, and some won't.
That's the danger, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Mitch Benn, do you want to come in here?
Yeah, I just said that applies to all comedy. I mean, the thing is, that's a very good point. And the thing is, I don't think any subject should be off limits, but Adil's absolutely right. There's certain subjects require a lot more careful handling than others, if only because some things, ultimately my job is to be funny. And the thing is, some things are much harder to make funny than others,
The danger of comedy also, sorry to interrupt, the danger of comedy also is that when you start laughing at somebody, you've got to figure out why you're laughing at them. Are you laughing because finally we have a chance to take the piss out of some? So I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that.
Too late. It's too late.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm sorry. It's very early in the morning. Are we laughing?
It's a word that's been orbiting this conversation.
Are we laughing because it's genuinely a funny joke? Because sometimes there's a danger that when we start making fun of a certain group of people or start laughing at a particular joke, it's because we are making fun of them, and it's a time that it's sort of. Yeah, we're kind of, I'm sort of losing my thread, but
degrading them in the sense.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the question then. Before you dash off, I know you're filming.
Yeah.
What's the difference between taking the word you used, taking the Mickey? I'll say if that's forgivable for people called Michael. Now, out of a belief, or how do you know you're not taking it out of believers or out of a belief? Because there's a difference there.
How do you mean? Sorry, I keep asking. How do you mean?
To lampoon a belief is one thing. Well, you believe that. You believe that. That's ridiculous. You believe that.
Yeah.
Oh, but to lampoon believers is slightly different, because then you're having a go at the human beings themselves, and it's difficult. It's difficult to draw the line, isn't it?
Yes, it is, because people, like you said, I like the fact that you asked your other listener, how does it make you feel? How did it make him feel when that happened? Because it can be kind of, when we start making jokes at certain any ideologies, I suppose, religious ideologies or whatever, if you're just making fun of the ideology, that's fine, but we're actually, beyond that, there's people's feelings that are involved as well, aren't there? So that means that we've got to be even more sensitive about the jokes that we're telling. Which
is an awfully grey area. Listen, thank you very much, Adil. Great having you on.
Okay, cheers.
Adil Akhtar. More coming from Mitch Benn. More of your calls as well. 0500 909 693. Let me remind you of the thorny question: is making fun of religion a basic right of free speech? Here's Michelle.
Your call.
It is. It's 9:22. Freedom of speech and religion. The row about the Lib Dem candidate Maajid Nawaz and the petition against him after he tweeted a picture of a T-shirt, the Jesus and Mo cartoon, after he had been debating the topic on the big questions. That's the information you need. Here's a text, lots of text. Nicky, Islam is not unique in its followers having a personal relationship with their prophet or major focus. Christians also have a personal relationship. They have a personal relationship with Jesus and feel the same hurt when he is denigrated. Islam is not special in this regard. The difference is some Muslims are much more aggressive in their defence of their prophet when they perceive him to be denigrated. That's from Charlotte in London. Nassar is in London as well. I hope I've pronounced your name all right. Good morning.
Yeah, that's right, Nasser. Yeah, that's right.
Nasser,
good morning. How are you?
Good morning, very well. And Sarah's in Bristol. Hello, Sarah. And Saif's in Peterborough. Hello, Saif. And Sarah. And Mitch Benn is still with us. Sarah, what do you want to say?
I wanted to say that people have rights and respect. Beliefs do not. Religion has for a very long time enjoyed this protected bubble which has kept it away, immune from criticism. And I think that's allowed it to perpetuate barbaric practices and breaches of human rights. So I think the time to criticize religion is now. It shouldn't be immune from criticism, and we are criticizing beliefs, not people.
Nasser?
Yeah, my opinion is that there's a few things in this.
There are a few things in this, yeah, there are.
This subject can go on for a long time, debate. But what I think is that there's nothing wrong criticizing religion, because every religion is open to debate, right?
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong criticizing it. But there's a bit of a cultural difference, right? For example, in the Muslim world, or if you go to India, right, making cartoons is actually like you're making fun and making jokes, right? And if you like make fun of a cartoon of Ram or Muhammad or Jesus, people will get angry with that, right? But in the Western world, making cartoons is just a normal thing. It is a joke. It doesn't mean nothing. So there's a bit of a cultural misunderstanding because we don't understand each other's culture. That's why, we don't understand each other's perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Number two, there's a bit of a hypocrisy. There's certain things in England that we can't say against because they'll hurt people, right?
Go on.
So either you open everything up, let everyone say what they want.
What
right?
can you not say anything? Wait. Not what can you not say anything against?
You cannot say, for example, I personally. They always talk about homosexuality, right?
Yeah.
Now, Islam, we don't agree with homosexuality. But, the media, portrays that it's only Islam. But if you look at the Christian text, if you look at the Hinduism text, Sikhism, Judaism, they all don't agree with homosexuality.
You've just said it.
Right?
Just said it.
I know, but what I'm saying
what do you want? Hang on, wait. What do you want to say that you don't feel that you can say? You have the floor. Go on.
I mean, there's a lot of things about politics and things like that, the way that everything is run.
Go on.
Plus, there might be certain things of British culture which British people might get hurt, So, I mean, I personally think you should respect everyone, right?
No, wait. You see, there's certain things about politics. So if you're talking about a libel about somebody, that's something different. But I just want to get to this now. What is it that you cannot say, that you want to say? Because you now have a unique opportunity on national radio to say it.
Well, what I mean is that if for example, if something if someone says something against homosexuality, right, they can be like, now the law is there to protect them. You cannot say anything against that, right?
Okay, Mitch Benn, is that what's the difference between saying something against homosexuality or saying something against Muhammad? Mitch Benn.
Well, I mean, it would depend what you were trying to say about homosexuality. If you're trying to say that it's an absolutely natural part of life and actually quite fabulous, I don't think anybody would have a problem with that.
Hang on a minute. No. Wait, a lot of people would have a problem with that. A lot of people
don't agree with that will have a problem with that.
Yeah, this is the thing. But if you should, where
you mean bigots?
Where should that's one man's bigot is another man's,
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got their own opinion.
Well, yeah, and some opinions are wrong and some opinions aren't.
Well, for goodness, that's a bit totalitarian, Mitch.
Well, I suppose so. Well, another thing is you're entitled to your own opinions, but what you're not entitled to is your own facts. And the fact is that homosexuality is completely natural if you're gay.
Oh, wait. This is the thing, Mitch. Is it okay to say that homosexuality is? This is not the opinion of management. But is it okay? Is it okay to say that homosexuality is sinful and wrong and unnatural, and you will most likely burn in hell for it? Is that all right?
Well, sinful is a completely meaningless word. So
you're trying to have it both ways. I thought you were all for free speech, Mitch. We booked you on the basis that you were for free speech.
No. People have to make the distinction between disagreeing with someone and pointing out that what they're saying is nonsense or nasty and trying to silence them. People have to make that distinction. That's something which people on the right wing do a lot. You're trying to silence me. I'm not. I'm just pointing out that you're talking nonsense.
Exactly.
I'm trying to silence you. I'm more than happy for people who are wrong to talk, because the more they talk, the wronger they get.
I think you can say whatever it is that you like, but expect to be challenged and expect to have your nonsensical piffle challenged. If, with regards
to... Can we say piffle, Nicky? Is that okay?
With regards to the gentleman who was talking about the cartoons and it being offensive to people in India. Well, actually, the cartoons...
No, I'm not talking about India. I'm talking about the Eastern world. For example, the Muslim or Eastern world. Yeah.
You've had your say. Pipe down. When you were talking about the cartoons and saying which is offensive to people in India, well, we all subscribe to global media. Can't just tend the sensibilities of the people in India. The gentleman in question talked about the cartoon. This happened in the UK, and he has every right to tell people what he feels about the cartoons. It is his freedom of speech. It is ridiculous that he is getting death threats for exercising
in 2014. In 2014. Breaking news. We've had the Enlightenment. There's NASA. Another. I think one.
I want that in a t-shirt.
One breaking news. We've had the Enlightenment.
Yes.
News just in. But NASA, is this the difference? You can say what you want about homosexuality being wrong and being sinful and being a sure route to the fires of hell and the burning oils. But if you say it in a way that incites hatred or endangers somebody's life, surely that's the line that has been crossed.
Of course, I totally agree with you. You cannot give, we can all disagree with each other, but we don't have the right to give death threats to each other, right? I totally agree with what you're saying. That's totally wrong. Maajid Nawaz should not have been given any death threats. You can text him and talk to him, debate with him that you don't agree with him, but you don't have no right to, give death threats. And secondly, what I was talking about cultures, that, there's certain things which are, people approve in the Western world, but there's certain things which people don't approve in the Eastern world. So there's cultural differences, so we must respect each other's cultures. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you can't default to the least tolerant culture, though. No. You can't just say that, all right, we have differing degrees of tolerance in different cultures who are trying to muddle along together, so we must default to the least tolerant. I take your point about things being unacceptable in the Muslim world. We're not in the Muslim world.
We're not.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but there's Muslims living in this country. Yeah.
But we have to remember, just because you're offended, it doesn't mean that you're right. People are offended by gay marriage, by interracial marriage, by many things that are perfectly normal and acceptable. If we stay quiet and we don't say anything, we perpetuate this unacceptable behaviour. So I will continue to protest and I will continue to speak my mind.
Thank you very much, and thank you for speaking yours, Nasser, and Sarah, thanks for calling us. 0500 909 693. Mitch Benn, thanks for your time. Mitch, I think, talking of T-shirts, we should have a T-shirt done with piffle as well. It's a good word, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
It's been a living for me, anyway. But
that'll cause a stir.
In the piffle community, yeah. It's 9:31, and here's Simon with the weather. Good morning. Yes, religion, the freedom to lampoon it. Well, let me give you the question again that we're asking. Is making fun of religion a basic right of free speech? 0500 909 693. We welcome Neil in Birmingham, Saif in Peterborough, and Michael in Chatham. Good morning, all. Now, Saif, I spoke to you earlier. I introduced you, but we didn't have time to come to you, so it's all yours. Good morning.
In the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Hi, Nicky. How are you? All right?
Very, very well, and peace be upon you. What would you like to say?
Thank you very much indeed. And let's take this opportunity to talk about these respectful people. Jesus, I'm a Muslim. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Muhammad. I believe in religion. It's my faith. These are very highly respected people in the world throughout history. They're not normal people like me and yourself that we can talk about, we can poke fun on, we can say things about. But let us take this opportunity to even look at the background of these people that we're talking about, poking fun about, that throughout history they're known as peacemakers, people who have spread peace, love and respect throughout the world. And to me, I think that poking fun out of these people, we've got to know our limits of what we're doing, whom we're trying to hurt, and why we're trying to hurt them.
Are we hurting these people specifically?
I think specifically, my opinion is that when you do something like this, it's out of hatred.
Does it offend Jesus? Does it offend Muhammad? Does it offend God?
Absolutely, if you're a believer.
Oh no,
absolutely.
If you're a believer, that's different.
Make any difference to you.
Is there an absolute? Does it offend God?
If you do not believe. Absolutely, Nicky.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you.
Quran says, and that's what the Torah
Let me try and ask you a question. In God, the merciful, the most merciful, the omnipotent, the omniscient, He who created everything, He who knows everything, He knows everything that will happen, is offended by a cartoon. Is offended by a cartoon.
It's not offended by it's offended by the actions of the humans that He has given us a little bit of authority to. That's where the offense is. The offense is not in that God is offended by that. He's a creator. He can destroy things in seconds throughout history, we know.
So he feels let down.
Nations have been taken out.
He feels let down.
God is never let down. You only let yourself down.
Well, what's his problem then?
He's the beneficiary. How can the beneficiary be let down?
But you said he's people not stepping up to the mark of what he would hope. That's surely feeling let down, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's why the hell is ordained for men. That is why the books. I'm not saying that.
Hell is what? Hell is what?
That is what the Bible says. The hell is ordained for people who let God's word down. Not me. I'm not saying that. No. It's not my saying. If you're a Christian or somebody's a Jew or somebody's a Muslim, that is what the revelations say. And what people believe is throughout history. I mean, atheism, I think these religions have been carrying on for centuries.
People have believed lots of things throughout history. Yeah, they have. Okay. Right, most merciful. Neil in Birmingham. Neil in Birmingham.
Hi, I'm a theatre producer, and the problem for me with this discussion is I think it's in danger of getting bogged down in semantics, because there's something in this country that we have always cherished, freedom of speech, and I think there's a danger of us taking it for granted, because the effects of an incident I was involved in Birmingham when the play called Beshti was cancelled by the Birmingham Rep because of violence by the Sikh community.
Yeah.
The Christian community picked up on the fact that Beshti had been cancelled by this sort of protest, and then managed to ensure that the Jerry Springer, the opera, was heavily protested against, and that play by the well-known comedian Stuart Lee will never be staged in this country again, as Beshti has never been staged again. And in my community, the theatre community, it will be considered to be a brave theatre producer who put on something which could be considered to be offensive to religion, particularly to non-Christian religion in this country. We've actually entered, because of Beheshti, a very different and dangerous phase in this country where people are afraid to be offensive. And my view, I was very vocal at the time about Beheshti that I would put the play on if the Rep weren't going to do it. We have to be very, very careful. In this country, there is a law that you are legally allowed to be offensive, and we have to hold on that for dear life, because it's so crucial to our way of life and the way of life that we've got used to in this country. But it's being eroded, and we can get in discussions about whether God would be offended or what Jesus would think, but it's a fundamental right that we need to hold on to fast.
Why is it so important?
I think it's the bedrock of what makes us free human beings. There are all different levels of it, obviously. I mean, when we look at all the things that have happened in other countries, like apartheid in South Africa, like what happens in India, where people are being murdered because of their beliefs, it's a very short step between being a bit sensitive and trying not to offend people, and ending up with a society that is much more restrictive, that is much more dangerous to live in if you want to speak your mind about important subjects.
Does somebody have the right to say that homosexuality is an abomination without having their collar felt by the thought police? Listen, I'm saying this because that's the other side of the argument.
I think belief, this is where it's difficult, because as has been said earlier, facts are facts, and we're now protecting minority communities because of what they are, not because they believe. Homosexuals don't believe they're homosexual. They are homosexual. If you therefore attack someone for being what they are, that's different to saying, I disagree with what you believe. I mean, it's like, black people don't believe that.
But what if somebody is Sikh, or what if somebody is a Muslim, and they feel that's more intrinsic to their identity than being Indian or Pakistani origin or whatever?
But the basis of those communities is their belief, is what they believe. It is not fact. And there are certain people who consider it quite important to say that those beliefs are not pertinent to our way of life now.
Yeah.
And we're talking about cartoons or comedy, but there are things that you can say in a comedic way or a jokey way, which are actually very important. They are satire, as we know, is a very important way of showing up differences between people and highlighting really serious issues. So it's not that you're trying to belittle or trying to be gratuitously offensive. Comedy is a way of highlighting differences of opinion, and that's what we're talking about here, is differences of opinion. Homosexuality is not an opinion, it is a fact. If people believe that homosexuality is wrong, that's their belief, and it's not in the same scale. I think that's what we're talking about.
Yes, I think you put it very well. Saif, do you want to come back on that?
Yes, if I can. Let's just take this opportunity. Obviously, I got cut off you because you had to speak to Neil.
Well, everyone's got to have a bit of a shot. Go on. Yeah,
sure. The religion of Islam, the religion of Christianity, they're both religions of peace. They're not out there to condone killings and murdering.
Well, there's a debate to be had there about.
Obviously, they're offensive.
There's a debate. Okay. Right.
Or they make a picture of something. It's not feasible for anybody to be announcing that this person should be killed, or should be murdered, or anything like that. On the other hand, what we've got to understand is that even our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Muhammad, the man you're talking about, is throughout history, he had people throwing rubbish on him. He accepted it. He took it. And it's through his patience, perseverance, that people believed who he was.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, for Muslims all around, I believe, I'm taking this opportunity to tell them that, it's about peace. If somebody is poking fun...
Is it okay in the great run of debate to say debate about the leaf? If somebody were to say, I don't think it's the unmediated word of God in the Quran, I think that Muhammad was deluded. Is that okay?
That is their opinion.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
It's an opinion. It's okay for them to say that.
Right.
This is why. There's a special surah in the Quran about Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun. Those people don't believe, you to yours, me to mine. You don't kill people over it.
Right.
You don't threaten people over it. God deals with people as he wishes.
Okay, and so where that does happen, I want to bring in, I want to bring in Nick and Hailing Island, and I suppose you would argue some people would say, well, it does happen in some parts of the world, and it is threatened in all parts of the world, but that would be a cultural accretion, as they call it. Nick and Hailing Island, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, no,
Who would you like to offend?
Well, I think they do a good job of offending themselves. The Muslims, the Christians, the Jews, and the Catholics. You know, they haven't progressed very much, have they? In thousands and thousands of years, they've been consistent at killing thousands and thousands of people. Yet, if we say one word about their dress or what they get up to, we're wrong. And so they really do a good job of taking the mickey out of themselves, I believe. But I think there's nothing wrong. Surely you're going to be able to take it on the chin if somebody says, well, hang on, you haven't changed your dress code for a few thousand years, or why do you go around like a load of mindless sheep looking the same and talking the same?
Well, listen, don't go to a Cayley anytime soon. The Scots haven't changed their...
Oh, well, I've been up to Scotland quite a bit.
Yeah, well, do you have a go at us for wearing the kilts? Look at you. You're dressed like you're in the 16th century with your plaid on. You look ridiculous. And you look like women as well, wearing dresses there. Neil, final, before we go to the travel, another thought from you, Neil.
The one thing I found from Beshti, which I think is important, the reason we're talking about cartoons and artists and performers and comedians, is I found through Beshti, much to my horror, that the people we can't rely on in this country to protect freedom of speech are the government, are the police, both of whom were very reluctant to come out against the Sikh community.
What are they running scared of?
Well, I think, to be honest, freedom of speech is a danger to governments and authorities of whatever kind. It's a really powerful... This is why we're debating it today, and it's a really important issue. Governments, much as it's strange to say it, and I found myself not believing what was happening when the Home Secretary's spokesman came on and said they understood the position of the Sikhs who'd broken windows and broken into a theatre and caused violence.
I know. I remember when Shirley Williams on Question Time said it was unwise, or it was unwise to give Salman Rushdie a knighthood, and others said the paperback shouldn't have come out. And I mean, this is a book.
Yeah, exactly. So artists who are at the front line, in my view, of freedom of speech are the last bastion of it in this country, because it's not going to be defended by the authorities that we would think we would rely on to defend it for us.
Well, I'm so pleased you called us. I remember that play well. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you,
Neil. It's 9:50. Here's Michelle.
This is 5 Live Breakfast. Your call.
His book on that's very good. As I say on the X Factor, he nailed it. Right. Ali in Nottingham, Peter in Exeter, and Jonathan in London, and Michael in Chatham. I've got every ambition to speak to those. Right. Ali, go on, Ali.
Hi, Nicky, you all right?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I was just listening to the show this morning, as usual, and heard some of the expressions that were being brought across under the label freedom of speech and expression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I personally believe that religion shouldn't just be singled out for freedom of speech and expression for people to feel free and say whatever they like, because it's just like many of the values that people hold dear in life, whether they believe in anything or not, for either who they are or what they believe in. It shouldn't be that easy for people to just hurt other people's feelings. We talk about universal brotherhood, global village, all these terms that we get conditioned with, yet when it comes to religion, we can use any expression or any words that we like and label it as freedom of speech and expression.
But in Pakistan, for example, if you express any opinion against Islam, you face very serious punishments. Whose feelings are hurt then?
Sorry, I didn't get that. In Pakistan, what happens?
In some parts of the world where there are blasphemy laws, which many argue are a kind of relic of the 16th century. If you speak out against a religion, you can face very serious punishments, even death. And you talk about hurt feelings. Whose feelings are really hurt?
Well, the thing is, religion, for example, in Islam, now, because we're talking because of the portrait of Prophet Muhammad and Jesus.
The cartoons, yeah.
The cartoon.
The T-shirt, sorry, yeah.
Basically, Prophet Muhammad and all of the prophets, as a matter of fact, of Islam should be held dear and are held dear in Islam.
Well, you hold them dear, but somebody else has the right not to hold them dear and to think they're a bunch of muppets, don't they?
Well, you're true with saying that, but at the same time, like people who, for example, one of your earlier callers was saying that, for example, somebody who's homosexual, like for example, if he's gay, he is gay. He doesn't believe he's gay. A Muslim is Muslim. He believes, in a certain value, but a Muslim is a person and the way he sees himself.
But he's allowed to say it's not right.
Or Christian, or exactly.
I understand.
Everybody's allowed to say
that.
That
is how you absolutely define yourself as a Muslim. So any cartoon with your Prophet Muhammad on, you would find it goes to your very heart. Jonathan in London. Jonathan, I believe you run a comedy film festival. Do you understand that position?
Yes, I mean, I think I understand every position. Going back to what the role of the artist in these debates, I think what artists and what filmmakers, comedians can provide, and since their job is to ask questions, not to give answers. I think there's lots of people giving answers, whether that's politicians or rabbis or vicars or bishops or whoever. There's plenty of people giving answers. I think the role of the artist is to ask questions and to point out flaws in people's argument and to, I think often also the criticism in comedy films is more about institutions than it is about faith. I mean, for example, Life of Brian was incredibly controversial, but it's actually a very sympathetic film towards Jesus as a figure and towards Christianity. What it's against is the factionalism that inevitably develops between, different groups of people who decide they have the right answer.
Mm-hmm. And that the bit about the different factions, and it's not about Jesus. Many argue it's about Brian, but people at the time were extremely offended by it, weren't they?
They were furious, and I think what's interesting, we showed it yesterday as part of the London Comedy Film Festival, and it still feels very provocative. And I think strangely, it's a 35-year-old film, but I think it feels probably more pointed now than it did then.
How do you feel?
It's really.
How do you feel about the situation if you had a side of A4 and you were to draw a man with a beard on it and then put this is the Prophet Muhammad and take a photograph of it and tweet it? You would be, in some people's minds, endangering yourself. Is that a bizarre situation, or is it an understandable one?
I think understandable and bizarre aren't necessarily antagonistic positions. You know what I mean? I think both are true. To me, that seems bizarre, but I do understand it because I think an artist's view should be to respect people's faith and their position. But I think what an artist would ask back is the right to ask those questions and say, well, look, just for the sake of, let's at least have a conversation about this, rather than let's close down the argument.
It's just a squiggle. It's just a squiggle. Yeah.
And all comedy tries to do is to open up the debate, not close it down.
Ali, go on.
Sorry, I was just saying that I agree with Jonathan there. I mean, we should have the right. We should close down this argument. Because the more we share our beliefs and culture and our values, the more we get better understanding of each other. And that's how we can go towards a bigger picture that we try to create for everybody, like global religion.
But we have a long-standing tradition in this country of satire, some of the great cartoons of the 18th century, many about and disrespect and lampooning religion. We've got a strong tradition of that, and people are worried that it is being eroded or might be eroded.
True, but for example, freedom of speech and freedom of expression shouldn't just be used when it suits to degrade somebody or a certain sector of society or even a minority of any sort.
Okay, here's Michael in Chatham. Go on. Good morning, Michael. You've got about a minute. Sorry to rush you.
Yes, I think Saeed said a lot of the things already that I was going to say about limits. I was basically just going to say that this concept we have of freedom of speech, which I do support, but it's not absolute when you look at it really. I mean, we wouldn't allow or expect newspapers to publish a cartoon of the Queen sitting on the toilet.
You might get that in a satirical rag, for want of a better word.
You might. I mean, I read Private Eye, but there are some limits they don't go beyond. I mean, we wouldn't have satirical cartoons of Jews being executed.
But that's racist. Well, that's racist.
Well, it's a limit that you don't go beyond. I don't believe in blasphemy laws, but I think we should have some kind of respect law where you don't go on beyond a certain line, because I don't believe in satirism that's going to be hurtful and nasty and offensive to people.
But satire does push that line all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah, but we all do know, and maybe it's an unwritten law, that there are certain things that are not said.
Okay, we are out of time, and if you wanted to say them, we wouldn't even have time to. But thank you very much, Michael. Thanks everyone else as well. And I'll see you tomorrow. Breakfast back tomorrow. This is 5 Live.